Hey guys, Kevin from Axis here. So today we are in the shop and we're going to do some organization and kind of get the shop relaid out here. And move the plasma table over, move the iron worker over here, and move this tubing rack all the way over here against this wall. That way it's up against the wall here and up and out of the way. Here it is, guys. We just finished up. So what we ended up doing, like we said before, is we went ahead and I moved the plasma table and sheet metal over. That way this allowed us to now move the material rack that used to be here, which all the tubes just stored on the ground temporarily, to be actually moved over against this wall. The reason why we did this is because we want to get this bandsaw set up, get this moved out into the open here, and then we're actually going to build the new tube rack. We'll chop this up, make a new one, and then we have all these blue bins that we went ahead and organized all of our small cut-offs, random pieces. So got stainless, there's just mild steel under there, exhaust tubings. In the smaller bins are all of our elbows and pre-bent stuff for aluminum, stainless, for exhaust, and a bunch of stuff. So we went ahead and bought all these bins just so we can get all of that stuff up and out of a pile, and then we can get that organized, and then we'll build a whole pallet rack system that will be able to store all of this stuff, plus we'll be able to set up the bandsaw and use it whenever we want to without having to wheel it in and out all the time. So we shifted that over, which meant we had to shift the plasma table over, and in doing so, that's where the iron worker used to be. So then we went ahead and moved the iron worker over where the end of the tube rack used to be. And then we left the press, the box and pan brake, the Bailey's brake, and the lathe where they're at. Those didn't need to move, which then ended up opening up the center of the shop more now. So as you can tell, we got a lot more room here in the center, which is nice because then we can set up the tube bender we have, or anything that needs a little bit larger area to work on back here. We can kind of set that up and work on it back here if we need to. Build another one of these workbenches to put behind it for actually welding. So we have a longer, that's a 10-foot long table, so we kind of have like a 10 by 3 foot area for working on some long parts, because this one's just a little too small for some of the bigger stuff we've worked on in the past. And then what that allows us to do is then move our two welders. We have a 255 Miller and a 210 Dynasty. We'll actually move those here at the end of these workbenches. That way we can weld projects in here for part wise, and then also if we need to use the welders for vehicles, they're kind of here in the center of the shop. We don't have to go tear down the welders and move them, because before they were like over here in the center. So we always had to tear them down, pack them up, move them all the way up here just to weld some little tab. So we're trying to get those towards the center of the shop, so that way we don't have to do that. We can literally just pull it up 5 foot towards the vehicle, weld it up, put it back. We don't have to go unplug, tear it down, and do all that. So then all of this tube is the tube we took off the rack. For right now, we just kind of set it on the ground until we get some more room, and we get the new rack built. So we'll just then move that up over there. And then that door, like I said, that's going to be actually blocked. We had to leave access to it for the guys who used to be rented on the other half of us. Since we're now renting on the other half, we don't need access to that door. So what we'll end up doing is tear down all of this pallet racking, move all that stuff to the other side, organize it, and then we're going to chop in a 20-foot opening here. So we'll cut this up another 2 foot so we can get a fork truck through, and then back 10 foot and kind of make this the entryway. That way, if you need to get in towards there, we just come in through the garage door, kind of like this where the YJ is, and just kind of pull through and in. We don't have to come down this aisleway anymore and go through there. So that way we can kind of dedicate the rear half of the shop towards fab. The front half of the shop will be set up towards doing vehicle install parts. So we have one lift right now that we're using, and then we also set up a vehicle on the side of it. The long-term plan is we'll actually end up getting a second lift up in front here, so we can do two projects. We can do a long-term, short-term kind of project. So if it's just something simple, we'll use the lift in front of the garage door so it's in and out, and then where this Wagoneer is, we'll go ahead and put this lift for like a long-term project that's going to sit here for a month while we're doing other things, so it doesn't have to be moved around. So that's kind of what we got going on right now. We'll have some other plans up here. We'll talk about that later on, but just kind of wanted to do a walkthrough of what we got done here today and what we ended up changing and why we're kind of relaying this all out. So thanks guys, have a good one.